WPTV Town Hall. Coverage collapse.
Week after week.
I'm in my room crying because I don't know what else to do.
Listening to you.
Well, that is it, and I can't afford that.
My reporting on Florida's home insurance crisis still shows few signs of relief.
My personal homeowner's insurance went from $1,900 to $5,900 in 1 year.
Rates being raised by thousands of dollars, fewer policies being written, and the state's insurer of last resort, Citizens, keeps growing.
I've spoke to policyholders, particularly in South Florida. Folks don't want to leave Citizens, right? They sometimes, and in many cases, were cheaper, but that's a whole other discussion. That's not necessarily a good thing.
I'm talking to leaders nearly every day, and they tell me it's getting better. Is insurance getting better in Florida?
It is getting better. Is it getting better fast enough for everybody who's trying to make a household budget? Of course not.
But the patience of homeowners remains thin.
It's crazy. It's very crazy, but we stuck here. Well, anywhere to go, how?
And your questions deserve answers. Tonight, we're at Tradition Town Hall in Port St. Lucie to make your voice heard in an election year and to remind those in power that insurance is top of the mind for voters.
I've heard everybody talk about making marijuana legal, which is fine with me, but I have not heard a single word about homeowners insurance.
Insight from a mitigation expert on the home fixes you can make to save money on your insurance. And we go right to the top, asking the leader of one insurance company what's driving your rates up and what could bring them down. This is a WPTV Town Hall. Coverage collapsed. And good evening, and welcome to Port St. Lucie and this town hall on our state's home insurance crisis. It's good to have you with us.
Many of you living on the Treasure Coast have joined us here tonight, some in Palm Beach County too, along with our panel of experts ready to give you information and answers. Thank you so much. For the next hour, we are going to talk about rising costs, the uncertain state homeowners are living in, and of course what many people are looking for right now, solutions.
Solutions, right. The cost of insurance. That's what many of you have questions about, and we've heard them. So let's first look at what that is on the average in our area. And it's a 5-county area. These are numbers we're getting from the Office of Insurance Regulation from this summer on our 5-county area. The insurance premiums varying from just over $3,300 to over $6,300 in Palm Beach County. We have a panel of experts that we like to have here to answer questions for everybody. We have a home mitigation expert. We have a candidate for the State House in Florida. We have a sitting state representative who's been involved in a lot of the reform work involving homeowners insurance. And we have a president of an insurance company based here in Florida, probably insuring many of you watching at home. So we're anxious to kind of get going with this. But I do want to start out first with a question for everybody here in the audience, because you saw the numbers, and I know people were telling us what they paid for premiums here in Florida, and we've seen the averages. How many people here, with a show of hands, believe they're paying way too much for homeowners insurance right now? Okay. So it's just about everybody, Megan, right?
Yes, no surprise there.
That's just about everybody. So why don't you have somebody who can probably start us off with our first question?
I want to start with Elaine, if you don't mind standing up for me, just really quick so we can all see you. Your story kind of resonates with everyone that's here. Your rates have gone up. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're facing right now financially?
Financially, if my insurance goes up next year or more, I'm going to move.
How much has your rate gone up?
Well, it went from $2,300 to over $6,400. And that's with the new roof and wind mitigation and everything done. And I surpassed all their requirements. Extra Simpson straps in my attic, hurricane rated garage door, shutters, you name it, generator, I have it.
So I want to take Elaine's situation right up to the panel. She's a perfect case for what everyone's dealing with, her rate nearly tripling. Why is this happening to her and so many people here in Florida? I don't know if Representative Toby Oberdorf, if you want to kick things off for us.
And I've never put in a claim. In the 50 years I've owned a home, I've never put in a claim.
Okay.
Well, first of all, Elaine, thank you for being here tonight and bringing this question forward, and thank you to WPTV for hosting this. Your story, unfortunately, resonates and is exactly what happens to so many people across the state of Florida. What we've seen over the last several years is exactly your situation. We've seen rates increase and increase and increase. Last year, when I worked on this panel, we promised that we were going to see some differences in 18 to 24 months. We're 12 months later, and for the very first time, we've seen a decrease in insurance requests for rate raises over this last year. And in fact, last year, the monthly average was about 7.6% for an increase. Right now, we're at 1.2%. I can't go backwards and say exactly what we can do, but I can tell you that as we go forward, it is getting better, and the market's getting better. We're seeing that by now 9 new insurance companies coming into the state of Florida. So I would suggest for you specifically is to start shopping your policy. And I believe that with all of the items that you have just declared and the items that you have said that you've increased your home, I would say that there's an insurance company out there that would probably be a competitive market for you and potentially have a decrease in your rate.
All right, Representative Oberdorf, thank you. I'm going to make my way over here because I've got Dennis here on the aisle. Stand up, Dennis, for a moment if you can. We've talked before about this, haven't we?
Yes, sir.
First of all, thank you for your service. You're a veteran.
Thank you.
All right, you live where?
I live in Port St. Lucie over near River Park.
And tell me about your insurance premiums.
Well, we bought our house 9 years ago. My insurance was in the 2,000 range, and now it's 6,600.
Right.
Never had a claim. I'm just wondering why the premiums just keep on going up. I read all the time about insurance companies having these billion-dollar profits every year. Unless they tuck tail and run, and file for bankruptcy, they just keep raising the rates.
I take it you're retired, too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Limited income.
Okay, I want to talk to Melissa Burt DeFries about this. He raises an interesting point. Now, Melissa, he said billions. I don't know if insurance companies are raking in billions, but there is an impression I think people have that insurance companies are making a lot of money on the backs of people like Dennis and other people. What is the reality from your point of view running an insurance company in Florida?
Florida is an incredibly difficult market, and it's been an incredibly difficult market for the last 7+ years. We've actually lost billions in Florida. That's why 11 companies have gone out of business. A lot of companies have either gone out of the state or reduced their exposure. So it's been a really difficult environment, and our rates are very heavily regulated. They're set by the state. They're capped at the actual cost of the policy plus a profit maximum of 4.5%. So while there might be some companies in the world that are making a lot of money, Florida's been a really difficult place to do business.
And those 11 companies, why did they go out of business?
For a variety of reasons. Some of them went out of business because of their claims experience with daily claims, a lot of litigation, a lot of fraud. They had some pretty deep financial issues. A few of them went out of business because of hurricane exposure. There were some hurricanes, especially in Louisiana, that exhausted their reinsurance, which is the insurance for insurance companies. So each company went out of business for slightly different reasons, but it was generally because of claims.
We only got a couple minutes, and we finally mentioned the H word right away, hurricanes, which we don't want to jinx anything right now. No. But I'll let Meghan take the next question.
That makes everyone nervous, Matt, of course. I want to bring Chuck in, if you don't mind standing as well. Where are you from? Where do you live exactly?
I live on the island, Hutchinson Island, at Villa del Sol.
Which many of us know from recent news reports. They've had inspection issues, and their property is red tagged. You're probably wondering what's going to happen to your rate with such a challenge that you're facing there.
Well, yes. Each year for the last 2 years, the rate went up 25% for our insurance cost for the association. And now I'm wondering if we're even going to be able to keep our units at this point.
Are you hearing a lot of concerns? The panel, I really opened this up to any of you about not just having an expensive rate, but the fear of losing insurance altogether. Is this a concern you're hearing from a lot of people you speak with?
Yes. Yeah. Many people have experienced losing their policy being dropped for lots of reasons. I know that the legislature did some work on restricting the ability to drop a policy because of the age of your roof. But in the case of a condo, you guys have your own problems to deal with the new assessments that are coming, and it's going to be devastating for a lot of condominium owners. We need to really think about what happens to people when we pass certain laws, and the residents of a condo who are going to have to deal with. Yours was considered condemned, I believe. Is that what happened? And it needs to be completely overhauled?
It's red tag. It's not condemned. It's fixable. It'll be $9 million.
$9 million.
Divided by 72 owners.
That seems really easy. How many residents do you have?
Yeah. 72.
72
and,
people are going to pay $9 million.
State Bill 4D pretty much just has us have to fund all that in 1 year. So hopefully Tallahassee's working on that. I think I'm looking for a government-backed 0% loan. At least the people won't be foreclosed, and we can fix the building. And then the people that can't afford to stay there anymore, the fixed income people can then at least sell the place, have time to sell the place.
Right, and there are additional costs that go along with that. When I talk to people, sometimes they talk about how they're just not getting insurance altogether. They're going bare without windstorm, right? But you have to bear in mind the other costs. So in your resident's case, while those construction pieces are being done, your residents are going to be displaced. And maybe they have somewhere to go that they can stay for free, and maybe they don't. So there are a lot of other costs that come along to people when we don't do this adequately.
Yeah, and Andy, you brought up a lot of good points. There's a lot of points. We still have a long way to go on this program, and we're going to talk about condos, and we're going to talk about some of those other issues too. We're also going to talk about moving. I know a lot of people are thinking about moving, and also how to fix up your home, maybe to help with your insurance. We'll talk about that when we come back after this break. Stay with us for this Insurance Town Hall.
Welcome back to our town hall, our coverage collapse town hall about insurance. When people talk about the struggles they're facing to afford their insurance rates right now, we know some people think about whether or not they can afford to stay in their homes. I want to take that question to our audience here tonight. Just by a show of hands, have you thought about moving from this area, moving from the Treasure Coast, or moving out of state because of the rate you're paying? I'd say at least 10, 20 hands are raised here. It's become a really critical decision some folks have had to make. Of those of you who had your hands raised, do you feel like you're on a deadline for how much longer you can stay here? Does anyone feel like they can only stay for another year, another 2 years?
Okay, I'm over here.
Yeah,
Why don't you stand up for a minute? Stand up for me. Go ahead. You had your hand up. It's okay. You said you were thinking about moving, right?
Yeah, the way it's going.
The way it's going?
You know, 1 year you're paying $6,000, and next year another $6,000, $12,000.
Right. Where would you go?
Up in the mountains, I guess.
Up in the mountains. I imagine any of you on the panel have heard about people wanting to move, right? They've thought about it. They talk about it. Maybe Andy, you're nodding your head. Calvin, you're in the mitigation home inspection business. People hire you to inspect their homes. Do they say if this doesn't go well, I'm moving?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we're probably the only company that give the solution to your problem. So if we find that you're missing extra nails in your straps, and instead of just giving you a report, we actually point out the things that can help you save on your insurance.
Well, let's talk about your business. Tell me what it is that you do with your business.
Okay. So basically I do home inspections, wind mitigations, 4-point inspections, roof inspections, all those forms that you need to turn into your insurance company in order to qualify for insurance or get the discounts that you need.
And there are things that you can do. You actually had some tips you wanted to give us, right? And I think we have them real quick. If we can put them up on the screen, Calvin's tips, and we're going to kind of go through them. I've got to get closer to the screen because I don't have my glasses. Okay, Calvin, all right, so outdated wind and 4-point reports, check roof attachments, take advantage of smaller discounts, and also, for an example, buy a fire extinguisher. Really, buying a fire extinguisher, is that simple?
That's simple. We find this, if you put those things in there, it makes it better for your insurance company to look at the risk. They're looking at your home far as the risk. What is going to cost? What is the risk of us if we take on this policy? And if you can show them where you can, okay.
What's a 4-point inspection, real quick?
4-point covers the roof, the exterior, the plumbing, the heating, and the electrical.
Melissa, you run an insurance company. You're nodding your head to some of this stuff. It's familiar to you, right? I mean, do companies look favorably on this stuff?
The most important thing a consumer can do is if you have an old roof to replace it. It varies by company, but you can save anywhere from 20 to 40% if you go from having an old roof to having a new roof. And getting an inspection is the first step to know what else you might be able to do to save money. Replacing a hot water heater. If you have old hot water heaters, replacing that can help you save money too. There's a lot of things you can do to help save money on your insurance.
I actually spoke to someone who was telling me about, there you are with your hand up, the electric box was flagged by your insurance company. And
yes.
You know, she thought it was windows and roofs. Now it's circuit breaker boxes and hot water heaters. What was that? You got the roof done, but now your circuit breaker box has been flagged by the insurance company.
Well, there's an incredible number of factors that go into rating your policy.
Right.
So that's why you really have to work with your insurance agent and with any third parties like wind mitigation companies to understand your risk and to understand what you might be able to do to improve the rate that you're paying.
And if I can interject one item in there, if all of viewing audience, mysafefloridahome.com, mysafeflhome.com is an opportunity from the state of Florida now to get a free inspection, to go through that process, get registered, and additionally there are some funds that when they are available they go to seniors first and then breaks down from there, but it's a $10,000 grant that helps with the wind mitigation, with other things like that, improvements in your home.
We have much more to come on some improvements you can make on your properties, more on the My Safe Florida Home program. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
When I talk to local leaders, they tell me the #1 issue they hear from people is homeowners insurance. And yet the voters tell me it's the one thing they're not really hearing from the candidates. On Florida's primary day last month, I was outside a polling place at the library on Summit in West Palm Beach, and I asked voters if they knew of any candidates talking about insurance. They said not many. Looking for a reason why, I then asked former Florida State Senator Jeff Brandes.
One of the big challenges we face is just a lack of knowledge. There's really no education process that the legislature puts people through. You know, you're put on committees, and there's not a lot of education that goes on as part of that process. And so oftentimes new candidates get to Tallahassee and they're taking their first votes and they have no clue, especially if they come in during a special, what they're voting on.
Well, interesting comments from Jeff Brandes, right? Because it's all complicated enough for us, but Jeff says, you know, there's a lot of people in Tallahassee who have a hard time digesting this too. And it is a complicated issue. It is not a simple issue out there.
But that's a great opportunity tonight for us to let some folks speak to sitting lawmaker, of course, Representative Toby Overdorf, Andy Poley, who is running for State House. I want to begin a question here. Adam, if you'll stand up for me. You joined us here because you wanted to speak to lawmakers.
Yes,
a question you have for them about policies.
Yeah, so thank you. What specific measures are being implemented to ensure that homeowners see real savings from recent legislative reforms?
Representative Overdorf, you've had a couple special sessions, regular sessions, where you've tried to tackle some solutions. I don't know if people would say they're feeling the results of that yet. When, again, you mentioned when we should start to feel results, but what is being done right now to maybe speed that process along?
Well, sure. Thank you very much, and thank you for the question, sincerely. So there's a variety of things that have happened and are happening currently. Number one, we're seeing litigation has decreased within the state of Florida. We're down about 20% from where we were last year. And that's a tremendous amount. When you're talking about the billions of dollars that were literally put towards litigation rather than actual insurance side, this is something we're seeing real positive results from. With 9 new companies now coming into the state of Florida, we're seeing an increased market, an increased competition for customers. So if you fixed up your home, if you've gone through the process, now you have an opportunity to potentially get a better rate and a better opportunity for insurance. Other things that we have done, we dealt with the assignment of benefits, which is AOB, in other words. This is an area that also dealt with payouts, and we saw a lot of fraud associated with that. And then also we're dealing with the sustainability and looking at ways that we can increase the hardening of shorelines, other things along those lines to help with overall insurance. And we've seen as a result our reinsurance rates have dropped for the first time in year after year after year. They've actually decreased by 1.7% this year, which means we have more money in our catastrophic fund, which means next year we should see an adjustment in our rates.
Okay, thank you.
Comprehensive.
And I have to be fair because you are running against State Representative Dana Trabulsi, and I recently had a chance to talk to her about the subject, and here's what she had to say.
I think we had to start somewhere, and litigation is down 20%. On the flip side, I think that we have taken away some rights of the consumers in terms of litigation, and I think we need to go back and revisit that. I think they need more rights to be able to litigate and not have the prevailing attorney fees taken away. I think that's something we need to go back and tackle. I think that we've worked really hard to try to create a level playing field in Florida. Because of reinsurance and those costs, because of reliability, affordability, accountability, all of those, we've had to make it a level playing field so that companies want to come into Florida and insure.
All right, creating a level playing field. That's what we want, right, to give policyholders a break. We did invite her to be on the program. She had another prior commitment, so she could not be here, so we wanted to include her there. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. We'll continue this discussion at our insurance town hall services.
WPTV Town Hall. Coverage collapse.
Welcome back. When we are looking for changes, potential solutions when it comes to our state's insurance crisis, the state CFO, Jimmy Patronis, has confirmed in the last year or so, 9 new insurance companies have come to the state. At least 12 here have reduced their rates. 24 have at least stayed stable. They have not improved, or they have not increased their rate hikes. But we want to know if people are feeling those changes yet and if that will make a difference. Matt, you've got somebody you want to ask a question.
I do. Tell me your first name.
Mary Beth.
Mary Beth, where do you live?
Port St. Lucie.
Well, you had a question about these new companies coming in, right?
Yes, I do. I want to know who they are and where they come from.
Right. Okay. I actually have someone up here in the front row who can answer that. Robert, stand up a little. You're with your insurance agent in Palm Beach County. I'm sure you get this question every day from people who come in. Who are these companies?
Well, we get a lot of companies coming in. Some of them are actual new companies, new investment. Others are new investment of sub-companies of other companies.
Oh boy.
So for example, they're a new company formed under another company that's already doing business.
Right.
And some have a different model now.
Right.
There's a reciprocal exchange model and those type of things.
I think people want to know, are they secure? Are they financially sound?
Well, they're all approved and admitted through the Department of Insurance, which means even if they go south, they have the Florida Insurance Guarantee Fund to bail them out.
Right.
So that's a good thing.
Right.
But we don't know their history and how they're going to, perform over the next few years.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, most of the ones that are coming in are assuming policies out of Citizens. They're not open and voluntary writing statewide.
Okay.
So that hasn't helped our competition that much.
All right, Megan?
Yeah, Matt, I want to ask David Wilbur here. You are a local insurance agent. You own your own insurance agency. More companies coming to the state. Is that making it easier for your customers to get insurance, or maybe even more affordable insurance in retrospect?
Competition is good. So the more companies we have writing, the better off we're going to be, because that's what's going to really make a difference in rate. And we get more competition when companies begin to make money. And that's the good news, is they're making money. So we want them to make money. We want them to stay in business. We want them to pay claims promptly. And we want them to make money, and that will allow them to not only get good service, pay claims, but also reduce their rates, because they are high. And they can come down, and the legislative changes were very good. And that will help us as we go along.
And while I have you, when you're helping people get claims that they might find affordable, what are the best things people are doing at home to get a manageable rate?
Well, let me mention one thing that hadn't been talked about yet, and it's really important, and that is water damage inside the house. A washing machine hose breaks, a sink leaks, and you don't notice it for a while, or you're on vacation for 2 weeks. That's the second most common claim in Florida, is water damage inside the homes, and those are very expensive claims. So a major thing to do is change those washing machine hoses every 5 years. Look inside your cabinetry underneath your kitchen sink. Are those valves corroded? Because I've seen a lot of 4-point inspections our inspector person does. You open up the cabinet doors, you look under there and see if the valves are corroded. A lot of times they are. You don't want a water leak inside your house, not only because it's terribly inconvenient and expensive to fix, But water leaks are something insurance companies look at when they decide if they're going to write your insurance policy.
You know, Megan, it's interesting. I got a condo owner over here. You're in Port St. Lucie, right?
Yes.
And what's your first name?
Eric.
Eric. Now, you're having trouble finding insurance, right?
Yeah, so I live in the same Villa del Sol community that got evacuated last month. Prior to this, we had a non-renewal letter sent to us. So on the 25th of this month, our insurance is dropping us, and we don't know how to get coverage after that.
So it's interesting, right? We're here, competition, Representative Overdorf, that's the big thing, trying to get competition, but it's still slow. It still seems very slow to be a reality for a lot of people.
Well, what I would say to that is that part of the competition is also the legislative mandates that we had. Number one was also to look at depopulating citizens. And with depopulating, we've had about 340,000 different policies come off of citizens now. What that does is the insurance companies now have a dedicated market that they can break into, potentially get some new opportunities there.
All right. Well, competition's the key, right? That's what we have to kind of strive for. We've got more to talk about. I do want to talk a little bit more about improving homes, My Safe Florida Home. I want to talk with Calvin a little bit more also. Stay with us as this insurance town hall continues. All right, welcome back to our insurance town hall. I want to talk about My Safe Florida Home right now. A couple people on our panel brought this up. I got Kylie here. You live in Port St. Lucie.
Actually, I live in Canal Point along Lake Okeechobee, and I own a condo in Fort Pierce.
Did you try My Safe Florida Home? Did it work for you?
It did. We actually experienced a small decrease of $500 when we did go through our 4-point inspection and make a lot of the recommendations that the gentleman brought up. But unfortunately, our condo, which only has 36 units, saw a $3,000 per unit increase from year over year. And most of those folks in our condo association are on fixed incomes.
All right, Calvin, I want to talk about My Safe Florida Home a little bit. I'm sure you do a lot of looking at homes, and you've had some experience with this. What's your experience been like with this program?
Yeah, like I said, it is, the insurance companies don't want to lose money. And so, and I guess our best advice is to have your home inspected and have the reports done, updated. They say right now the forms are updated every 5 years. So a lot of times policies are expiring, and the rates went up because of that.
Right.
Oftentimes they make improvements, and they have something that's old on their report. So my biggest thing is probably to constantly make sure if you make improvements in the 4 areas of your electrical panel, your water heater, plumb, those things, have those things updated.
Yeah, Melissa, is there any one thing that's better? Like if anyone's going through My Safe Florida Home, should they do the attachments on their roof? Should they do the impact windows first? What do you recommend?
Well, I do want to say that we had consumers that went through the My Safe Florida Home program, and on average, they saved 40%. Now, recognizing that everyone's going to be a little different based on the characteristics of their home and what they're able to accomplish. But you really just have to work with your insurance agent, with your insurance company to figure out if you're only going to do some of the improvements, what would be the best. As I mentioned, roof is by far and away the biggest driver of rate. If you have an old roof, putting on a new roof will save you a substantial amount of money. And if you make a lot of improvements and you aren't happy with the rate your insurance carrier is giving, shop it around. Find what you can do.
If I can add one last thing in there is that the My Safe Florida Home program is actually expanding to the condo programs as well, starting this fall. So the condo program, and Eric, to address your question as well, we're going to talk a little bit more afterwards. Right. But that being said, the My Safe Florida condo pilot program is launching this fall as well.
It is a pilot program. There's not as much money in there, but it is just getting on its feet.
This time around, yes.
Megan, go ahead.
Matt, I want to make sure we get to some questions for people who want to know more about the program. Owen, correct? If you could stand up for me. Are you from the area?
I'm from Martin County.
Okay. What did you want to ask about the program?
So my question is, so I'd like to ask about 2 bills that died in committee, and these bills would have provided stronger protections and financial relief for our residents. House Bill 1017 would have created a property insurance commission, restricted insurers from unfairly denying claims, and allocated $300 million to the My Safe Florida Home program with mortgage loans and insurance payments. So my question is, would you have supported these measures?
Representative Overdorf, do you want to take that one?
Sure. That particular bill did not appear in front of the committee that I was on. However, an allocation of $300 million is, if I recall correctly, above and beyond what was approved under the appropriations side of it. As far as the other items that you mentioned in there, I know that there's specific provisions, and we possibly can hear about those a little bit more, about the profitability of insurance companies, number one, and the regulation associated with that. We added some more regulations there. And then there is a specific reporting program as well on insurance companies, and so we added some additional regulations as to what they have to do this year. So while that bill may have died in committee, the provisions of that bill were added in an omnibus bill.
And generally speaking, I would say yes, Owen. What it comes down to is this. For us to recommend that you fix your roof to lower your premium when you can't afford your premium doesn't really make a lot of sense. So we need to have support for people. We have done a really good job of helping out the insurance companies, and it's time to work for the people a little bit now.
All right, thank you. I've got a homeowner over here. What is your first name?
Mary Beth.
Mary Beth. Okay. You did not go through My Safe Florida Home, but you did replace your roof, right?
Yes, I did.
And your insurance, what happened?
It went up. Brand new roof.
Brand new roof, and it went up. And
Well,
Melissa,
I do wanna-
why does this happen?
Yeah, so the premium that you pay every year is based off two major factors. One is the rate, so the rate per thousand of coverage, but it's also based on the value of your home. And what we have seen over the last 5 to 7 years is a dramatic increase in people's replacement costs. So while the rate of their insurance might go down, the premium they're paying is going up because the value of their home and replacing their home has gone up so much. As a matter of fact, about 75% of what consumers are paying from 2017 to now is because of the increasing value of your home. It's inflation.
All right.
And that it's tough, though, and I'm not saying it's not tough. It's
It
just
is tough.
that's where
And the
we're
My
at.
Safe Florida Home Chief Financial Officer Jimmy Petronis is more or less in charge of making sure that program moves along. I recently, just last week, talked to him about this. Here's what he had to say.
If you go and you do impact windows,
right,
we will then document
Right.
that. And the state law says if you've got impact windows doors, that bubble,
Right.
360 degrees is now protected, you get a discount.
Okay.
Okay. If your roof is improved, you get a discount. So those improvements, because you're less risk, less likely to file a claim. If you're less likely to file a claim, that means less out-of-pocket expense for the carrier because it's less likely your house is going to receive any damage.
All right, so that is Chief Financial Officer Jimmy Petronis. We still have more to talk about. We haven't even talked about Citizens yet. I can't believe that. We're going to talk about Citizens when we come back. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to our WPTV Town Hall. We're live here in Port St. Lucie talking about homeowners insurance, and we want to talk about Citizens insurance right now. Citizens, of course, is asking the state for a rate hike of about 14% across the state. Now, that varies a little bit from county to county, but overall, it's about 14% the way it shakes out. I've got Larry right here. Stand up, Larry, if you will. You're a Citizens customer, right?
Yes, I am.
And what town do you live in?
I live in Fort Pierce.
Fort Pierce. So what do you think of Citizens so far, and what do you think of the prospect of your insurance going up 14% next year?
So my house is a 1950, so
Right.
there's not many people that want to insure it regardless. So,
Okay.
So it was a significant reduction. We pay about $6,900 to $7,800. I can't remember. It's gone up in the last year.
Right.
But we were previously at about $12,900.
Right. So would you be able to absorb a 14% rate hike?
We probably can. We have no mortgage, but
Okay.
but it is making us consider self-insuring our house. So.
Self-insuring your house. Okay, so Melissa, I don't even know if Security First is involved in any of the takeouts, but I know there's a real strong effort here to get a lot of people off Citizens in the state of Florida, and they're relying on private insurers like you, right?
That's
To
right.
do that.
That's right. There are going to be some homes that are always going to be in Citizens. Citizens does have a place in the market, but there are also a lot of good risks in Citizens that might save money going into the private market, and that's the point of the takeout program. And we do participate in it, and we have found customers who save money going into the private market from Citizens.
Representative Oberdorf, it's the goal, right, to make Citizens the most expensive insurance in town. Right now, it's the bargain, the best bargain in town.
Well, I wouldn't say it's the goal to make that the most expensive insurance. However, what the goal is to depopulate the Citizens Insurance Program. And we've seen the fruits of our labor in that 389,000 policies have gone off of Citizens over the last 7 to 8 months here. So as a result, we're seeing that market expand. And what that also means is when you have that, when you receive a rate that's within 20% of your current rate of Citizens, then you are required to take one of those. And those folks that are out there that are making the improvements on their home, that are going ahead and doing the windows, the new roof, or things like that, you are actually becoming a target for the insurance companies in a positive way. And you are now in a way that you can shop yourself and say, look, I have done all these things. I'm going to be a good insurance customer. You need to come and insure me and give me a better rate. And I think that's something that would be a positive out of this.
Can I just add something really quick? I don't know if it was your news channel or if I'm mentioning a story from another news channel, and pardon me if I am. But the takeouts, some of the people are reporting that the coverage is different, and that's why the rate is comparable or competitive with their Citizens rate. So if that happens, please be very careful and read over your policy, because the reduction of coverage could result in a lower premium, but it's not better service.
Okay. Nodding her head to a lot of this, I want to bring Toby Shalene, and if you don't mind standing for me, I know that she is a Citizens customer among the some that are here tonight. Do you want to talk to us just about your story, how you ended up on Citizens? Of course, this wasn't your first choice.
Well, actually, my home sustained a lot of damage in the 2004 hurricane. I actually had to sue my insurance company to even get a fair reimbursement for what it cost to repair the home. So following that, I actually went without, I was self-insured, went without any insurance, any windstorm, just strictly liability, fire, etc. So fortunately, recently, in the last couple of years, we were able to be insured with Citizens. We could not find any insurance for our home that was less than $8,500 a year.
And you've tried to find something other than Citizens?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But after looking around and checking the market, the only thing we could come up with was Citizens. And actually our insurance agent helped us find Citizens insurance. So we're currently insured with Citizens.
Okay, what's being done? Can someone take a question perhaps about what's being done to make it easier for people to find private insurance aside from Citizens?
Well, I mean, I guess I can take that. Citizens is implementing a clearinghouse. So what Citizens has implemented through a company called EasyLinks is a way for when agents are going through the process of quoting you a Citizens policy, also going out to other companies. The idea being they want to give you lots of options and show you everything that's out there. So the clearinghouse started to be implemented this summer, and it will be completely implemented by October.
Okay, and we are still waiting on that decision on the rate hike. It could be less, it could be the 14%. We don't know.
Oh yes, I was just asking about.
But no, I'm just going to wrap things up here because we're going to continue our discussion. We still have a little bit more ahead on our town hall, so stay with us. All right, welcome back. I can't believe how quick the hour has gone by, but it is time for us to kind of look forward a little bit towards solutions and what may be ahead with insurance. Doug Quinn is with us now. You're from the American Policyholders Association. You're a consumer advocate group, right?
That is
based
correct.
out of New Jersey. What do you see in terms of the future of insurance in Florida here and what may need to be done? What's on the agenda, do you think?
You know, Florida is in fact a challenging state. But I will say something, and my fellow Marine sitting next to me here mentioned that we're all up here kind of singing Kumbaya, and I hate to be the voice of dissension, but one of the things I will say is, when is the state of Florida going to start holding the insurance industry accountable for their actions and the position they're in? Because I hear a lot about, you know, yes, mitigate your home and it's responsibility on the homeowners. And yes, you should be responsible. You should make a strong defense for your home. But there is a lot going on in the insurance industry that nobody is talking about, and they are skimming a lot of money out of these states and these companies that are going under.
Okay.
You have not seen, you're seeing citizens of Florida losing their homes, but I promise you, none of the executives of these companies that went bankrupt lost their homes.
All right, thank you. Representative Oberdorf, it's an interesting point, right? Everybody, when you have a crisis like this, everybody wants government to get a little tougher. I know that there was some penalties levied against some insurance companies this year, Heritage being one of them. Is the state being tough enough on some of these insurance companies, or should they sharpen their teeth a little bit more?
There's over 22 active investigations that are currently happening. The Office of Insurance Regulation under Michael Jaworski, they have been absolutely on top of this. I would disagree with you, sir, in that the insurance companies in Florida are highly regulated. And whether it be returning profits as part of the overall program, which we forced them to do. We also went after them for overall rate increases. Every single rate increase has to be justified down to the penny. We don't do that in any other companies. We have an overall regulatory system with them that is incredibly comprehensive. So to say that they aren't regulated at all whatsoever, I would highly disagree with you on that point right there. And I would also say that as we go back through this process, I would welcome you to read over the thousands of pages of legislation that we've passed that specifically regulate insurance companies.
All right, we'll let that be the last word on that.
But saying that there's no regulation in Florida, what we're saying is they're not holding the industry accountable.
Okay.
You can make laws all day long.
We will disagree. We will disagree on that.
Yes. We're running out of time. He made that point. We're running out of time. Megan, go ahead. Megan, take it. Go ahead.
Tonight with questions into mind, maybe possible solutions they thought of. We wanted to give them a chance to maybe run those by you. I want Tim to stand up if you don't mind. You had an idea, maybe a pitch, and maybe you can let us know whether it's something realistic or potentially in the works.
Right. Well, my suggestion is that, I know you don't want to lose money. And we don't want to lose our money either, you know what I'm saying? So we level the playing field with that, basically. But my solution is we need to address the replacement cost. You're forcing us to get a full replacement cost. My neighbor owns $50,000 on a mortgage. She has to have a $500,000 replacement cost just because she got $50,000 to send her kid to school. What can we do to open the door that we can have the right to choose?
Okay.
And not be forced.
We're running out of time. I want to give someone a chance to answer that question real quick. Go ahead.
So replacement cost, just for people who don't understand, it means the cost that it would be to replace your house.
Right.
And it's really important to ensure to get enough insurance. But you do have options through multiple policies to have actual cash value for your roof, actual cash value for your contents. You can remove contents. There's a lot of different ways to do it. But if you do have mortgage, you're slightly limited on it.
We're going to have to wrap it up there.
Sorry.
This was such a deep topic. The time went so fast. I want to thank everybody for joining us, our panelists, our audience. The best advice, talk to your insurance agents, study this, and do your homework. Thanks for joining us tonight on this town hall.